Hello everyone, this is Guys Hit the Football. Back again with another video. Today we're going to be talking about game week 28 and how our past team went, as well as game week 29 with a potential free hit on the table as well. First, we're going to be looking at our game week 28 points for this week, how we did this week. First, we're going to look at my team. This is FPL Rich, and then we'll look at Guys Hit the Football. So first, this week I did pretty well, scoring a 70-pointer, mainly because of of course, of the double game week players that I did have, which was Alfie Dalty for my team, also with Solanke. Solanke, for this week, Solanke did not do as I planned, but he did save me a bit with those 8 points he did score against Luton, but against Sheffield United, he did miss a pen and he did get a handball ruled. He did get a goal ruled off as well due to his handball. So he could have scored more points, but a bit unfortunate. Going on to Son being one of the major scores for this week, of course, scoring a massive 17 points against Aston Villa. Who would have thought Tottenham would have destroyed Aston Villa 4-0, though. Son, of course, being scoring once and getting 2 assists this game week. So it's definitely one of those players that definitely scored big as well. I did end up going with Virgil on the bench and playing Pedro Porro. Pedro Porro, of course, being a good player this week, as he did recover from his injury as well. So those are the outstanding players that I did have for this week, as I said, scoring 70 points. And I did go up in rank a bit. I'm back into the top 1 million. Hopefully we'll continue on and keep getting a green arrow for this week as well.
Yeah, so now going on to my team and how I did for game week 28, I did horrible. I think I did just below the average, but I think the mistake that I had was not having anyone for the double game week. No players for the double game week that were playing for double game week. Someone that I had brought in was Kudus from West Ham, and he didn't up didn't end up providing um, points, even though it was against um, Burnley. But another player that really disappointed for game week 28 was Watkins. Um, he didn't score and just had a very bad week. Um, and then I think this week he's ruled out with a 70 percent chance of playing. And then also, I mean, just overall you could see not very good. Everyone pretty much with 2 points. But this week I'm planning to do better.
So now moving on to the predicted points for this week. Of course, looking on to this week, of course, we have 3 players that we do want to talk about each. I will go on ahead and talk about the first player that I do want to talk about. Definitely is Watkins, Ollie Watkins from Aston Villa. Everyone picking him in his team, but of course, with him picking up that slight injury against Ajax this week in the midweek game that he did play in the Conference League, he is kind of a ruled out player for with a 75% chance of playing. It all depends on Unai Emery if he does wants to play him, or how injured or how that injury does go on to play. But of course, me personally, I would still, if you have him in your team, of course, I would definitely keep him, because he is one of those players where if he does play against West Ham, he's definitely one of those players that is going to score big, or at least he is predicted to score big. Of course, last week he did not do anything against Tottenham. It was one of those weeks where Aston Villa just kind of fell through and didn't do anything against Tottenham, where they did lose 4-0 at home against Tottenham as well, where Ollie Watkins didn't do much, but hopefully he does pick up form against West Ham this week Another player that I do want to talk about in my list for this week is definitely Anthony Alanga from Forest. He does have this very, very good fixture against Luton away. He's definitely one of those players that is a bigger differential in the team. Everyone is definitely going for that Gibbs White type of player if they're picking a Forest player. Me personally, I would talking more about Langa because he is one of those players where he can score big and definitely has that fixture against Luton. So yeah, I mean, he definitely is a cheaper option as well, but it doesn't really matter. If we're comparing the two, Gibbs White versus Anthony Alanga, it definitely is a 50-50 who scores the chances, but hopefully Anthony Alanga does score big this week, and hopefully he does play a good 90 minutes as well. The last player I do want to talk about definitely is going to be Brennan Johnson from Tottenham. This guy is another big differential. If you're going to be picking him this week, of course, he is one of those players that I'm talking about because everyone is going for that obvious pick of James Madison from Tottenham. Me personally, I'm talking about Brennan Johnson because he is one of those players where when he does play games in his current form, he has been playing well. He did score against Aston Villa. And he did score as well against Crystal, or he did get a two assists against Crystal Palace when he did come on for those 27 minutes and he did play. So I do believe that he's going to be playing this. He's going to be starting against Fulham, and hopefully he's going to be scoring or assisting a goal within this game as well. Of course, if you're comparing the two, Brennan Johnson versus James Madison, without a doubt, James Madison is the better player. But of course, if we're talking about differentials for this week, Brennan Johnson is definitely one of them.
Yeah, so now to talk about some other three players that I have in mind for my team. Um, First, I have Ioane Wissa for Brentford. They're gonna be going up against Burnley away. He's really been on fire as of late. His team hasn't been winning much, but I mean, he's gotten the starting position with Ivan Toney. Um, and I do see him scoring big this week. Um, Considering, I mean, they're going against Burnley. It's going to be away, but definitely see him doing good this week. And then for my other player, I have Tahith Chong with Luton, and he's going to be going up against Nottingham Forest, and they're going to be home. Something I really like about this player is considering, I mean, last week he scored pretty big, scoring 8 points, having a goal and a bonus. Um, he's a player where he likes to have the ball in his feet a lot. He's able to assist, obviously able to score as well. But yeah, I do see him maybe hopefully getting a goal or assist in there this week. Um, and then for my last player, I have uh Callum Hudson-Odoi with Nottingham Forest. And something I really like about him is I know last week he didn't start against Brighton, but I think Nuno's Espiritu Santo had mentioned that he was possibly considering bringing him back into the starting lineup. Um, and I would agree with them on that. I just see him being a better team with him on the field. And the reason I also chose him, I'm hoping that I know he hasn't been doing great as of late, the last couple fixtures, um, against Liverpool, Aston Villa, and Brighton. But before that, we he had a West Ham, scored 11 points, had a goal, and then against Newcastle, also at home, scoring a goal, and then against Bournemouth, also a goal. I know it's gonna be away, but I do, like I said, he's probably gonna be starting. I'm probably gonna be starting this game, and um, I do see him being like a threat up top.
So now going on to this week's fixtures, of course, this is a big blank game week, of course, game week 29, which is what everyone was dreading, of course, with the everyone is going to be playing their FPL chips as or their free hit chips as well. We're going to be doing that as well this week, and we'll be talking about what players we're going to be choosing for our teams later on in the video. But for right now, let's talk about the fixtures for this week, of course. First, of course, we have Aston Villa versus West Ham, one of those games where, of course, West Aston Villa is going to be one of those tough fixtures at home for West Ham. But of course, anything can happen. Of course, the best fixtures for this week, I would say, is definitely going to be Brentford against Burnley, where Ivan Toney and Wissa with this current form, of course, is going to be a big danger for Burnley. And as well, Ivan Toney, who hasn't scored, hopefully is going to be on the scoring sheet for this week as well against Burnley.
Yeah,
Another
I would agree on that. I would say another fixture that a lot of people are betting on is the Fulham Spurs game, which a lot of people are obviously gonna be on their teams gonna be having Son, Madison, um, and I mean, considering last week they smashed Aston Villa, this week they're gonna be away against Fulham, but it's definitely a good fixture for bringing in those Tottenham players.
Yeah, and lastly, I would say the last fixture that I'm looking at is definitely that Luton against Forest game, where Luton are at home against Forest. So anything can happen between these two, of course. Both of them are battling for relegation this in this season, of course. So anything can happen as well. Luton, of course, are always that very good team or a very good side when they are at home. So it's going to be a very interesting game as well. Okay, so now looking on to our game week 29 free hit decisions that we both are doing. First, let's look at my team and what high I'm going with, at least what roughly I'm going to be going with this season or for this free hit. First of all, I do have Kaminsky in goal as my starting goalkeeper with Martinez as my substitute goalkeeper. Kaminsky in goal for the reason that I do believe he does have a good fixture against Forest as well at home. And Kaminsky has been one of those goalkeepers that has proven himself to be a very good goalie when it comes to being at home as well. And I do have a back three, of course, with Pedro Porro, Doughty, and Regulon. Regulon does have that kind of hamstring injury that he is recovering from, but of course, it has been said too that he will be starting, be in the starting lineup for Brentford. So of course, Regulon being that very attacking player is definitely one of those players I do want to have if you're going to be looking on to get Brentford defenders. Same with Porro. Porro has been performing very well in the past couple fixtures. Actually, in the last fixture against Aston Villa, he did get a score a good 7 points, and he does have Fulham away, so he might be able to score or assist within the next game that he does have. Now looking on to my midfield, I did go on with a midfield four of Elanga, Kudus, Johnson, and Son. First, I did end up going with a Anthony Elanga for my team. Of course, everyone I believe is going with a Gibbs White if they are going for a Forest player. Me personally, I did go on with that differential of Anthony Elanga. When he does play for Forest, he is one of those attacking threats that has proven himself to be a very good goal scorer as well. And of course, he does have Luton away, which is a very good fixture for Forest. So I believe I believe you need to have at least one attacking Forest player in your team. Next up, we do have Kudus in our team. Of course, Kudus does have Aston Villa at home. He's facing Aston Villa at home this week, of course, but it's this guy is also another one of those differentials that I did end up going with, or ending up going with as well. This is a big decision between either going with Kudus or going with Bowen. I did end up going with Kudus in the sorts that um, he is a very attacking player, and it all depends on me personally. I'm just picking Kudus because of his how big of a differential he is as well. as well. He is also a very good player. Now moving on to my third pick that I did go with is Johnson from Tottenham. He's another player that we did talk about earlier in this video. And the reason I'm going for Johnson over another player like James Madison is because Johnson, does when he does play for Spurs, he does play very well and very in his current form, he is playing very well, and he is a very attacking player. And I believe in terms of who's going to be the better pick with James Madison or Johnson, I think Johnson is a very big differential for this week, and he can probably outscore Madison. Hopefully, we'll see. And the last player on my midfield is definitely going to be Son. Everyone's picking him, and I do believe he is a very good pick for this week. Even for the captaincy, I do have my captaincy on Son this week, as he did score very big points against Aston Villa this away last week. He does have Fulham away this week, and I do believe he is going to be a very good option for this week in terms of points. So that's where my captaincy does lie. In terms of my front three lineup, how I'm lining up for my front three, I'm going with the Wissa, Tony, and Watkins. Watkins, of course, we did talk about Watkins having that potential injury to himself. So I'll keep an eye on him, whether I'll keep him or whether I'll go with him or maybe switch him out for another player. I don't know. We'll see. But as of right now, he is in my team, and I'll keep him in my team as well. The main reason here I have a front line of Wissa and Tony. Wissa for the chance Wissa is on excellent form in terms of his scoring abilities, and Tony as well. He's also one of those players where he has not been playing well in terms of points, but he does have a very good fixture against Burnley, and I do believe he's going to pick up the pace as well against Burnley this week as well. Looking on my bench, I do have a Barkley, Murillo, and Robinson on my team. I did end up going with the Barkley, and I did wanted to start him, but it's very hard to pick Barkley and kind of pick who he starts over with. So I did end up going with him in the bench. If Watkins doesn't play, then Barkley goes in and plays over Watkins this week. So this is how my team is going to be lining up for the free hit this week. Now let's look on Kayasete Football's team.
All right, so now going over my team for week 29. I don't have many differentials as you'll see later on, but first of all, just starting off in goal, I'm gonna start Flecken um, from Brentford. He's gonna be going up against Burnley away, and I just feel like he's a better goalie. I know a lot of people have is it Kaminsky or what's the other guy's name?
The other guy that a lot of people have is Regulon from
No, the goalie,
the goalie. Goalie is either between Kaminsky or Flecken. Those are the top two options.
Kaminsky, yeah. Um, but I mean, pretty much, I mean, both of them are good picks. I just think I'm going with Flecken since I already had him on my team and a little more confidence with him. But for my back line of three, I have Dati, Udogi, and Royself. Um, with Dati, what I really like about him is, of course, I mean, all of these two of these players, Dati and Udogi, are very attacking players. Um, and with Royself, the reason I'm putting him in on my starting lineup is because I'm hoping that Brentford could get the clean sheet against Burnley. I know that it's gonna be away, but um, I'm hoping that he could get that clean sheet and score big there. And then for my midfield, I have Madison, a huge pick with with everyone choosing him on their team. I'm also picking him. Um, I know he scored big last week. Um, he scored, I believe, a goal. And this week I'm hoping that he could at least get an assist in there, and then for I'm gonna pick in also Hudson Ladoy with Nottingham Forest, one of my differentials. And like I said, I mean, I'm really hoping that this guy will come up as he was like in form a couple weeks back. And he should be starting and hopefully be getting scoring big there. And then also I have Bowen instead of Kudus. I just feel like Bowen, this is his. It's gonna be they're going against Aston Villa at home. Um, and I feel like he's like due for getting big points. And that's why I mean I chose him over pretty much Kudus and Bowen are pretty much the same, but um, I think Bowen being at home, he'll be a little bit more comfortable and be able to score big there. And then obviously having Son in my midfield, definitely probably gonna be captaining him as well. And then lastly, I have Chung from Luton, another differential. I think Hudson and Chung are my only differentials here. And then with Chung, I'm just bringing him in because of what he did last week. And considering that he's going to be at home, really think that he can maybe be one of those players that can score big with maybe like an assist or two and possibly even a goal. And then my strikers, I have Wisa from Brentford, choosing him over Ivan Toney. I think his his streak is gonna continue. He's really been doing very well, and especially against Burnley, I think he'll be able to score big there. And then having Watkins as one of my strikers as well. Still some doubt in whether he's gonna start or not, but I'm gonna keep him in and probably remove the captaincy and move it over to Sun. But unless if he doesn't play, I have in my bench Ogbene, and I was really deciding on whether to start Ogbene. I know he got a goal last week, and um he's with the Luton playing against Northern Forest this weekend. But I mean, I really think that he could be a good pick. It's still a little uncertain on how I might roll him in late to the deadline. But we'll see. And then having Martinez as the backup goalie, and then Murillo from Nottingham Forest also on my bench, and then Robinson in my bench as well.
So now, lastly, let's look at the fixtures for this week. Of course, we have four games with the big blank, of course, happening because of the FA Cup that is happening as well this Saturday and Sunday. Um, First, let's start off Burnley against Brentford. Of course, Burnley having that not being in form in terms, but they did get that good result against West Ham last week away. But now they are at home against Brentford. But Brentford are one of those teams that did lose against Arsenal as well in their last fixture, 2-1. So, and it was a tough fixture against Arsenal as well, close one. But I do believe that Brentford are going to win this game, even though Burnley are at home. They're going to win 3-1.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Burnley, I mean, even though last week, I mean, they tied against West Ham, and even though they're gonna be home this week, I think Brentford is just a better team, and I think the strikers up top with Ivy Tony and Wisa. I think they're gonna come up big this week, and I think they're gonna win 3-1.
So now looking on at Luton versus Forest, another one of those games where these two teams are battling for relegation. Luton always are a big formidable foe when they are at home, but Forest as well are one of those teams that I do believe they are a good team. Um, as a did Luton did lose against Bournemouth. In their last fixture against Bournemouth, they did lose 4-3. It was a very close game, but Bournemouth didn't end up winning it for this fixture, and Forest did lose against Brighton. So both of these teams want to bounce back as well. But I do believe Luton will edge this game in a, I would say, an exciting fixture of Luton winning 3-2.
Yeah, for this one, yeah, considering I think it's gonna be a big factor considering that Luton are playing at home for this one. Um, and I think this one's gonna be very close. Um, but I think Luton's probably gonna win this one like 2-1.
So now looking at Fulham versus Spurs. Fulham are at home at this time against Spurs, and they're looking at their last games that they play. Fulham did lose against Wolves 2-1, and Spurs did get that shocking win against Aston Villa, beating them 4-0. So, in my opinion, Fulham are a very good team. They always play very good at home as well. So, but Spurs did beat Aston Villa 4-0, but will they keep that that form? Who knows? But in my opinion, I do believe Spurs will win this one 2-1 with probably some goals from Son as well.
Honestly, I do see Spurs keeping that form. Um, I honestly think they're definitely gonna be a team that's gonna give the top teams for the title race difficulty, and they're gonna be probably a decisive team on who's gonna win that title. Um, and I mean Fulham is also a good team considering that they're at home as well. But I think I mean coming off of that win, that 4-0 win, I think Tottenham's gonna keep that streak going, and they're gonna win this one as well, 2-0.
So now looking at the last fixture for this week on the Sunday, we do have West Ham versus Aston Villa. These two teams, looking at their last fixtures, Aston or West Ham did have that kind of shocking kind of draw against Burnley, where they were at home and they did draw 2-2. And Aston Villa did have that shocking defeat against Spurs, where they did lose 4-0. So it's one of those things where both of these teams definitely do want to bounce back from those past games. And in my opinion, we do have a bunch of these players from in our teams. And whether Ollie Watkins does play or not, who knows? Hopefully he does. And I believe this fixture is going to be one of those close ones, but I do believe Aston Villa is going to win it 2-1.
Yeah, definitely. Both of them needing to like come back from the past from the past week. But I mean both of them, one of them in the Europa Cup and the other one in I think the Europa Conference League. Um both of them winning during the week. I think this one's gonna be very close being at West Ham. I think this one's probably gonna be a tie like 1-1 or 2-2.
Okay, and that is all that we have for today, folks. Thank you guys for sticking around and watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next game week.